Right, so this is hopefully going to be a short and sweet video. So back beginning of the season, we had this little Coolerworx shifter installed on the Micra, but I removed it because we were struggling to find gears, and I also found our throw too short, almost literally, so you know, first, second gear, you know, there was sort of like no movement in between, and it made it difficult going across the gate into third, fourth, fifth, reverse, etc. So I'm now ready to give it a second chance. We're at Brands Hatch again this weekend, and I'm finding that we've gone back to the stock shifter, as you can see here. But because my seat is so far back, I'm having to sort of like lurch myself through the harness to go to the forward gears, like first, third and fifth. Second, fourth and reverse are perfectly fine. So the advantage of this is that I had it mounted closer to me. So rather than sort of like stretching forward the gears, I had it about here next to the steering wheel, and it just felt much more ergonomic. But we came away from Brands Hatch, fitted it, and we still had issues selecting gears, and that's when we discovered that the clutch cable just wasn't doing its job. I mean, as you can see here, I've got the spacers packed behind the adjusting bracket, so that puts more tension on the clutch arm. So obviously don't forget we've converted this gearbox from hydraulic to cable, and I think there's obviously some differences in there, so we've had to over adjust the cable so we can actually get the clutch fully disengaged so we can change gear. So yeah, I'm prepared to give it another go. What I've done is that you see these holes here, these actually adjust the fulcrum point, and what we've got here is I've adjusted it at the lowest point, and that means we're going to have the furthest throw on the gear stick, so hopefully not be as aggressive as it was before. The second issue we had as well is I believe one of the detent springs in the gearbox is either broken, faulty, or just not strong enough, and that detent usually brings the gate into the middle gate, so your gear stick would usually always sit in between third and fourth gear. But what we've got with this gear stick is that it wants to sort of sit in first and second all the time and doesn't want to come over to third and fourth. Now what I didn't realise last time is that you can actually adjust that by moving this section, this piece here, and you can move the spring left and right, and then that will help self-center the gear stick when it's in neutral. So we're going to strip the old gear stick off the car, stick that in, and we'll take it for a test drive. But while we're there, I thought we'll sort of show the process of what we've done to fit it. Now, we did it quite crudely at the beginning of the year, and we're going to do the same again, because obviously time's against us, but I do want to make like a nice sort of folded sheet metal bracket which goes over the tunnel. But yeah, you'll see what I mean when we get in there. So yeah, let's start removing some shite. So this is a linkage that we had on it before, and I can see we had this little, put this little adjuster in just so I could dial in the length of the linkage to suit the setback seat position, so the gear stick was closer to the driver. But as you can see, it is a touch longer than the factory one. So what I'm going to do is I've already cut a piece of tube, is we're going to take this adjuster out of the equation, and we're going to put that piece of tube in there and mould it solid. So one of the issues we had at Brands Hatch, as you can see here, is that this nut kept coming loose, and then it just wouldn't select gear because this was moving. So we're going to rectify that this time by welding it up. Okay, let's see. We go forward a gear, we don't hit anything, but when we go back, you can hear it. It's hitting something, and there's like a little bolt which sits behind this plate here. It's sitting, so we're going to have to make the linkage a touch a bit longer, so we stop hitting that bolt, because we can't really shave it down without knackering the mechanism. So that's loads better now. So then we've got first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Now the reason I fitted this back in is that you can probably see it's got a really strong self-centering spring, whereas usually you would rely on a return spring underneath or the detent spring in the gearbox to self-center the gear stick. And you'll probably realise by now that I've had a lot of money shifts in this car. Now if you don't know what a money shift is, well, a money shift is, let's say you was in third gear and you wanted fourth gear, but you accidentally selected second gear, and then you overheat the engine and it caused all sorts of damage. Now I've actually done this 5 times in this car, 4 times with the first engine and once with the new engine that we got in last week at Mallory Park. So let's just demonstrate the benefit of this. Is that if you look, if you go over to the gate to first and second, you'll see it wants to return back to the centre. So that means when we go first, the second I'm going to have to put a bit of sideways momentum on it and back into second gear. And then as you can see, it's already centred in the centre gate. So all I've got to do now is push it forward, and we're now in third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear. So it's going to eliminate, hopefully. On top of that, the gear stick's in a much nicer position now. It's much more ergonomic, closer to the steering wheel. We're going to see how we get on with this weekend with this. I'm going to take the standard gear stick with us just in case we end up having issues with it again, but I'm pretty sure with obviously the modifications we've done to the clutch cable and the modifications we've done to this, it should be perfectly fine. So now I'm happy with everything. We're going to take the linkage back off the car, we'll weld it fully, we'll refit it, and we'll call this a day. Okay, so I'm going to call that a bit of a success for a test drive. Now the only one thing that I'm not too keen on is, because obviously we've only got the one bar front to back and we don't have a stay bar, because there's not really any way we could put a stay bar on there, is that the gear stick moves quite dramatically under acceleration and deacceleration. But yeah, it feels better anyway. It definitely feels better than it did earlier this year. I mean, we're a bit too late to change anything now because we're going to leave for Brands Hatch in the morning. So yeah, so I hope that was insightful for the many people that asked me how to fit the Coolerworx shifter to your Micra. Now on a K11 you don't have to extend the linkage as we have done. We've only done that because I've put the seat quite far back in the car, so therefore the stock gear reach was quite a reach. So yeah, thanks for watching, and all that jazz. And don't forget to drop a comment down below, smash that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your nan. See you in the next video.